Is the Republican from New York, and she joins me now to talk about this. Congresswoman, good morning. Look, let's begin. I know you're not a fan of this plan, right?
Well, of course I'm not a fan of this plan. It's absolutely outrageous. Not only does New York City have a housing crisis, we have an affordability crisis. People are renting apartments in New York City for thousands and thousands of dollars. People are having difficulty paying their mortgage, paying their rent, keeping up with their property taxes that have increased year after year. And the mayor is now telling hardworking taxpayers that they need to pay so individual who crossed into our country illegally at the border last week can live rent-free. I mean, what planet are we living on? It's absolutely outrageous. And the mayor, I've said it before, needs to challenge, and he is, by the way, finally, after I've been calling for him for a year to challenge this right to shelter law, it's finally going to go before a judge, because this was intended for homeless New Yorkers, right? Citizens who fell in difficult times, became homeless, to give them a shelter, not for individuals who just entered our country last week or citizens of other countries. And, you know, it's just, of course, this is going to continue to just incentivize individuals to come over our border. That's exactly what's going to happen. He says they keep coming because you're giving them free housing.
You know what strikes me about this, Congresswoman, is the fact that for so long, those people, especially in New York and other, cities far away from the border, were very critical of the efforts to prevent people from coming illegally into the country. They were 2,000 miles away from where it was happening, but now it's on their doorstep, and they're getting a taste of what Arizona and Texas has been dealing with for years. So there's a little bit of, you know what, this is the reality of the situation. It'll be interesting to see if they change their mind on unfettered, migration across the border. Whatever happened to Homeland Security?
You're absolutely right. And in a city, in post 9/11 world, New York City, of all places, should understand the dangers of having an open border. We found terrorists on the suspected FBI terror watch list attempting to cross over. Even in the interior, we found them. But in addition to that, you have the fentanyl, enough fentanyl to kill millions of Americans being found on a regular basis now. The drug cartels have set up operations in our cities. It all needs to be stopped, and it can only be stopped if the president undoes the policies he put in place and secures the border, or if the Senate takes up the House's border security bill, which we passed last month. Senator Schumer has not passed our bill, and he has not passed his own bill. So he has to do something here so we can reconcile our differences and move forward. So short of the president or Senator Schumer doing something on border security, we're going to continue to see this crisis, and we should not have a mayor that continues to incentivize it. You know what's happening today in Washington? We've got the New York City Council Speaker, we've got the New York City Finance Chairman, Justin Brannan, here lobbying for more money so they can continue to add shelters, so they can continue to provide housing for migrants. I'm just not going to support that type of policy. We need to get border security in place, and we can work on immigration too, by the way. We should be addressing the issues of visas. We should be addressing the issues of judges and other matters, so we can have a proper asylum process that flows and order at the border. But what's going on right now is unacceptable.
Absolutely. Close the border. Congresswoman Malliotakis, thank you so much for talking with us about this very important issue. We do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
As the city shelter system buckles over the influx of migrants, officials coming up with new ideas on where to house asylum seekers. One new idea, the mayor suggested the city could pay people to house migrants in their apartments. Fox 5's Reagan Medji is live in Midtown with more on this creative solution. Good morning, Reagan.
Good morning there, Dan. Yes, a creative solution, also a hypothetical right now, because if New Yorkers are willing to house asylum seekers, they could earn up to $125 a night. That would be money paid for by the city. This as thousands of migrants continue arriving here in the city every week.
The closer we bring the asylum seekers and the migrants to everyday New Yorkers, the easier it will be for them to transition into society.
Each week, thousands of single adults and families arrive here on buses from border states, and finding housing for everyone has become increasingly difficult. So Mayor Eric Adams is floating an idea, asking private homeowners to share their space. Those willing will be paid by the city.
It's cheaper and it's a good investment for us to go to a family and assist them instead of placing people in large congregate settings or in these emergency hotels.
Technically, short-term rentals of 30 days or less are illegal in New York City. So if this is going to be something less than 30 days, they would have to change the existing law.
New York City civil rights attorney Ken Belkin says the mayor could issue an executive order to temporarily change laws, which could open up his honor to litigation. And he's already created controversy for previous plans to house migrants, such as housing men in tents on the Orchard Beach parking lot, then Randall's Island, both scrapped amid flooding concerns. Placing migrants in school gyms fell flat with parents and students. And just yesterday, in an exclusive report on Good Day New York, Fox 5 reporter Morgan Mackay explained a new effort. Starting next month, nearly 1,000 migrants will be housed in 50 churches and houses of worship. These faith-based shelters will be open from 7 at night to 7 in the morning. The migrants will then be moved to daytime centers, which will also be faith-based operated, but paid for by the city. Another option to shelter migrants, the old postal warehouse at JFK Airport. The FAA just gave its approval, saying the space has adequate security and safety plans in place for housing.
And city officials say more than 45,000 migrants are currently in the care of the Department of Homeless Services. Now, the price tag for that is $4.3 billion. And as you can imagine, Mayor Adams is now looking at the fact that he may have to, in order to make those payments, have to make some cuts across the city. We're live here in Midtown. Reagan Medji, Good Day New York.
Locales, and then move to this with discipline, and we're executing on it. It is my vision to take the next step to this, to go to the faith-based locales, and then move to private residents. There are residents who are suffering right now because of economic challenges. They have spare rooms, they have locales, and if we can find a way to get over the 30-day rule and other rules that government has in its place, we can take that $4.2 billion, 4.3 it may be now, that we potentially have to spend, and we can put it back in the pockets of everyday New Yorkers, everyday houses of worship, instead of putting it in the pockets of corporations. And some of those corporations come from outside our city. We should this with discipline, and we're executing on it. It is my vision to take the next step to this, to go to the faith-based locales, and then move to private residents. There are residents who are suffering right now because of economic challenges. They have spare rooms, they have locales, and if we can find a way to get over the 30-day rule and other rules that government has in its place, we can take that $4.2 billion, 4.3 it may be now, that we potentially have to spend, and we can put it back in the pockets of everyday New Yorkers, everyday houses of worship, instead of putting it in the pockets of corporations. And some of those corporations come from outside our city. We should this with discipline, and we're executing on it.
Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. What's going on, family? Welcome, welcome, welcome to another exciting edition of Random Topic Tuesdays here on channel gboot2786. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. We are live. We are live. I'm coming out with you with 5, ladies and gentlemen. You saw me playing these videos earlier. We're going to get into our topic for today. But first, I also want to do another advertisement. If you're interested, you can please get you some Nani's Creole seasoning blends. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nani's goes great with every dish. And also, you can check out my music that we have available, including Gotta Get On Up and Video Soul, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to be talking about it. And you saw what my topic is from the thumbnail. I said, kick them out. What is going on with Eric Adams and Brandon Johnson? Now, you know Eric Adams. You saw him earlier. He is the mayor of New York City, the largest city in the United States, a city that holds by its population at least 8.4 million people. Now, that's just the official census. That does not include the influx now that you have of illegal immigrants that are coming into that state because they designate New York, just like Chicago, as a quote unquote sanctuary city. Hello to everyone in the chat. I see some people hollering at me from Darius from Atlanta. What's up, brother? Shout out to you, Danielle. Get well soon. Also, my man DeAndre Mosley, Emperor Cece. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We love y'all. Thank y'all for being here. We're gonna be what I'm talking about, what you saw in this video, Eric Adams is proposing that private citizens, private residents, house these migrants that are coming into New York City, because since these migrants have been bussed in by border states such as Texas and Arizona, since the governors have shipped them up there, because they remember these cities, these politicians like your Eric Adams, and we're going to talk about Brandon Johnson in a minute. They've been advocating for stuff like this. New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, all of these liberal cities. And now that they have been handed the bill, they have trouble coming up with the payment by allowing this influx. And this has started, and in fairness, of course, with Bill de Blasio when he was mayor of New York, because in order to prove that Trump was a racist and that the city of New York was not, they started to allow this influx of illegal immigrants to come in. If you remember a year or so ago, we talked about this, and I wondered why, especially after going through a pandemic like COVID-19, when we've had people forced to stay home, even with or without the injectable, as we'd say. Remember, they were calling for everyone to have these, or else you couldn't go into areas of public accommodation. A famous basketball player by the name of Kyrie Irving was actually kicked off the team for a number of days because he refused to get this particular injection. But yet you have an influx, so you're cool with that. But then you're cool with that, kicking him out. You're cool with having these restrictions in place, but yet you bring an influx of people from another country in with no checks or balances. And you saw the video yourself that Eric Adams stated that he's talking about considering this as a possibility because they have so many of the migrants on the streets. I even saw an article where they have migrants selling food in the subway. They have all of these problems. But here's the main thing with New York, and I'm also going to talk about Chicago, is that New York has being that it is the largest population in the United States, largest city in the USA. Think of, ladies and gentlemen, also the homeless crisis that they have. New York has a homeless population. If you're talking about 8.4 million people, New York is homeless. Nearly 1 in every 120 New Yorker is homeless. That includes men, women, and children. And there's an estimate of at least 3,400 people, according to the Bowery Mission, that are living in unsheltered in the subways. Eric Adams didn't have any sympathy for Jordan Neely, who was homeless, who had mental issues. I listened to him carefully talk about how he had to be careful and all this stuff and woo 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 and this got to play in. But here he is. This is a cop, by the way. Eric Adams is a former police officer, 20-something years with the New York Police Department. He called it a tragedy and said he didn't deserve to die, but he stopped short of saying that this man was wrong and should have been charged. I remember this. Someone from AMAC wrote, and your prior arrest, being arrested is not the same as being convicted. Dr. King was arrested 100 times or more. Same thing with John Lewis. Same thing with Malcolm X. He has a criminal history. Your criminal convictions don't mean a damn thing at the end of the day. Where is this? So how is it that you can come up with 4.5 billion to allocate for immigrants, but yet you can't give reparations? We got to ask these questions, people. I want you, especially if y'all going to keep voting for the same group of people, I want you to see this, that you are literally being forced out. Black America as a political force in this country is dead, or it's on life support at best. We have no leadership. We have no organized plan. We have nothing. And the fact that we elect Black people to serve in office, one time that was special. Now, not so much. They have all this money for this. Brandon Johnson, the city council of Chicago, they approved $51 million for migrants. His speech in office was to pray. The first thing he talked about is this intersectionality thing. He mentioned the congresswoman from Chicago, the Hispanic congresswoman, and where they were born in the same hospital, and how migrants come together. He said this. And the problem with this, and why these guys are out of touch with the Black voter, is that Black people in this country, if you all know, are the only group of people who did not migrate. There was forced slavery, there was forced labor imposed onto Black people, onto Africans and their descendants. There was forced labor, slavery, chattel slavery was imposed. and they got nothing from it. Yet they can come up with money, and we still suffer from the effects of this, but yet they can come up with all of this billions of dollars, all this millions of dollars for foreigners. I want y'all to look at this video. I'm gonna play this again because I want y'all to pay attention. I'm gonna play this for y'all. I want y'all to pay attention, please. This is what Brandon Johnson had to say. Listen to what he had to say.
We treat the most vulnerable. And so we choose to be a strong city. We must reject a zero-sum formulation between investing in those who have been here for decades and supporting those who have been sit here on a bus even this morning. We can do both, Chicago, and we can all thrive together. We know the strength of a city is determined by how we treat the most vulnerable. And so we choose to be a strong city. We must reject a...
He said how we treat the most vulnerable. I showed you all the numbers of the homeless in Chicago, how 75% of Chicago's homeless are Black. I produced those numbers from the city's website. At an estimated 65,000 people. Where is this for Black folk? Nowhere. And they voted for this. They voted for this. Listen.
Really a collection and a body of individuals that really imbibe the true spirit of Chicago, where they are collaborating to respond to this need. You know, it's unfortunate that we have politicians that are using the lives of individuals as a way to score some political point with a certain segment of the population in this country. It's wicked, it's unconscionable, but you know, again, as you all know, the city of Chicago is coming together to make sure that the people who wish to find real comfort here in the city of Chicago, that we provide that. Now, I'm here today because I needed to see it firsthand, and over the course of this transition, I've been briefed on a regular basis, and it is clear that police stations and respite centers, that's not the goal. And so we have to make sure that the work that is being done here, that work is done with the true spirit of Chicago, right? Where the philanthropic communities, our local elected leaders, our community-based organizations, our public facilities are all working hand in hand to make sure that these families who have travailed through very horrific conditions, that when they arrive here, that the city of Chicago and the people of Chicago, we're going to be here for these families. Thank you. Yeah.
The budget committee last week passed this $51 million in surplus funding to help deal with this crisis only through the end of June. How will you continue to pay for this, and what are plans? Are there any new shelters or respite sites identified right now that we don't know about yet?
Well, I mean, you know, first things first, we have to make sure that the city council does its part. As you all know, I'm not a dictator, and it passed out of committee, but we're going to do the work to make sure that those resources are there. Look, I was in Washington, D.C. last week, having this very conversation, had very effective, meaningful conversations with our two senators, as well as our congressional delegation. You know, took this all the way to the White House. Everyone recognizes that the city of Chicago has been a real model and an example of how we treat people.
Example of also of how not to pick a leader, who not to vote for. Example of who is insane and who is not. I want y'all to look at this too. So what you saw, and I'm comparing it with both with Eric Adams and with Brandon Johnson. And it's not just the mayors, it's the city council as well out of Chicago when they voted for that $51 million. And you juxtapose that, ladies and gentlemen, with what they're advocating right now in New York about having private residents renting their homes out to migrants, considering this. Now, what you should know is that, and what you saw in the video is that your Eric Adams has almost a similar what's called a faith-based program initiative. And I'm going to show you the video again, what you see here. But first, I want to play this again. Remember this.
Where's the 51 million going that's going to last us only to the end of next month? And what happens July 1st when we're broke again?
They approved 51 million. Remember, keep this in mind now. This is only a temporary funding to get them off the streets. It is $51 million. It is not permanent in place, meaning that they're going to have to get another accounting to help illegal immigrants in Chicago.
Frustration boiled over during a fiery city council meeting as residents and aldermen disagreed on how taxpayer dollars should be used when it comes to migrants.
Ultimately, $51 million in funding was approved to help care for asylum seekers in our city.
Casey Cronus has the story now from City Hall.
Passed in a 34-13 vote. That money will go toward housing, food, and other resources for new arrivals. But the decision did not come without contentious debate.
The bottom line is, we're a sanctuary city. We've been bragging about it forever. We did nothing to prepare for it.
Since last August, more than 8,000 migrants have been dropped off in Chicago from the Texas border, with shelters and respite sites overrun.
Families have been living on the floor in police stations. This is unacceptable.
But those opposed to a massive budget amendment are questioning how the city can suddenly come up with so much money for new visitors when local communities remain neglected and homeless individuals are sleeping on the streets.
How dare this mayor and city council have the guts to give migrants $51 million.
During the city council meeting, the public weighed in.
We have not gotten anything for our community, and we are sick and tired of being sick and tired. Enough is enough. And I voted for you, Brandon.
With tensions running high, arguments and interruptions were frequent.
I would ask that she would do it with some level of decorum. I believe that we can have public discourse without demonstrating the worst part of our debates.
That $51 million covers the remainder of a projected $102 million that it will cost the city to care for migrants through the end of June, with the rest coming from the state and federal governments. But it's
no accounting of this money. Now, juxtapose this. I want to show you this. This is what happened in New York. Outside, this is at City Hall. This is the mayor giving that speech about the, everyone's talking about the private residence. I want to hear y'all to listen to this. It starts, all of these individuals you see, you notice the collar around their necks. This one here, this person who's wearing, it's not a yarmulke, but he's wearing a hat. I believe this is a Muslim. These are all the pastors. This is the interfaith agencies, organizations that the mayor has teamed up with. It's like a faith-based initiative that, if you remember, during Hurricanes Katrina, the rebuilding process, George W. Bush created a faith-based initiative that involved members of the clergy, such as T.D. Jakes and John, I can't think of some of the others, but T.G. Jakes was on there, I think Creflo Dollar and a few others. And that happened. Listen to this. I just want
looking good.
faith community of New York City, or what? We did it. We're here. Good morning to everyone. I am Pastor Gil Monrose, and I serve as the faith advisor to the mayor of New York
Hearing his
City, and
accent, you already know what's he in favor of for.
also to run the Office of Faith-Based and Community Partnerships, which will be working with NIDIS and our partners to oversee our new partnership with our faith community. And so as we have witnessed an unprecedented influx of migrants to New York City, and so some call it a crisis, we call it an opportunity for the faith community to do the work that they will normally do, which is providing compassion, comfort, and care to all New Yorkers, whether you are unhoused, street homeless, or migrants coming to our city fleeing the country to raise your family in peace and have an opportunity for a better future. The faith community stands ready to work with New York City in order to support migrants who are here. And so as it has been written in the Statue of Liberty, it says, "Give me your tired, your poor, your humble masses yearning to breathe free." And today I am really grateful to stand with faith leaders who have and will continue to open their doors to asylum seekers, providing their space and hand of community to care for them. Truly, New York is a city of faith. And so we are totally happy and really blessed to be here today with our faith leaders who are here and those who are across the city to be able to announce this program. Now I'll bring to the podium the Mayor of New York City, Eric Adams.
Thanks so much, Pastor Monrose. And I guess this is a opportunity built on a crisis, because we are facing a crisis as it continues to unfold. And this administration has been staying ahead of the crisis. And I would say over and over again that when you look at other municipalities, you're seeing people sleep on the streets. You'll see people sleeping in airports. You'll see people really trying to manage a crisis that we're doing so.
I'm not going to play this entire speech, but this is the actual speech that he gave, ladies and gentlemen. This is the speech that he gave with these leaders where he talked about the private residence. Now, mind you, if they propose something like that, this could open the mayor for a potential lawsuit under the Third Amendment, because one of, my main thing could be the Third Amendment. And most people who do or do not know what that is, what's in the Third Amendment, it allows that, it says no soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in the time of war, but be in a matter as prescribed by law. Now, an immigrant is not a soldier. Migrant is not a soldier. And they are talking about paying these individuals some money regarding this matter. They're talking about paying $125 a day. But even so, something like this, it's certainly a safety hazard, because you're letting strangers in your home. You don't know who they are. You're also talking about letting people stay in there. These people, how are they going to, $125, just that in of itself is not enough if you have a family of 3. Or even 1 is just expensive. Having 1 child. But you're taking care of yourself, your wife, your kids, and now you got to take care of another family. Are they going to be working? How do you talk to them? Do they speak English? How to communicate with them? All of that is something you need to consider. But this is why I believe come 2024, this is going to be the death blow to the Democratic Party. In 2024, I don't see Joe Biden winning re-election. And let me just say, don't be fooled by these simple Simons, you know who I'm talking about, that have these YouTube channels that they double for votes, that they double for vote for the Democratic Party. They replay stuff so they get the double views, the views. Don't be fooled by them. Because Roland Poley was been talking greasy about people not voting for the Dems. Joy Reid, of course, we know where she stands. Jamel Hill, who just got fired, supposedly, although she said she didn't get fired. And I saw her and Tariq going back and forth. But Jamel Hill has always said something derogatory about black men. Don't be fooled by this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. But Brad Johnson, Eric Adams, this is where I put our black people in. Guys, we got to get these people out of office. If anything, a recall election. Eric Adams has been there for a year and a half, and Brandon Johnson's been there. I know he's been there for less than 2 weeks. I've seen enough. You put the needs of other individuals over your own citizens. It's foul. It's foul. You don't know it yet. Yeah, opening up your home to someone. Yes, I'm all about the compassionate. I can be compassionate to people. That doesn't mean I have to be foolish either. You tell us we can't get a free handout, but you're giving it to another group. This is why there's death coming to, and let me clarify that. The political parties, particular, the black vote is dead. They want, well, no, let me rephrase that. They want the black vote, but black leadership is dead. CC, you're talking about we must vote. No, we don't just need to vote. That's not what it is. We're going to withhold our votes until you give us something. You got to offer something in return. This is quid pro quo. You watch Power, if you watch that, when they have the congressperson, Lorenz Tate's character, Councilman Tate, who comes in, whenever Tariq St. Patrick wants something, he says, well, I'm going to need a little quid pro quo. That's how politics works. You give something to get something. No more giving this stuff freely. You can't do chicken dances. You can't do song and dance and kumbaya and say, oh, she can do the wobble, just so that means I could get me to vote. Hell with that. How are you voting for somebody? How are you going to vote for somebody that's not doing a damn thing for you? That said he will do nothing for you. He told you, you got to work with the Hispanics. The Hispanics don't want to work with us. I saw Cornel West is running for president, and he's running as an independent. I didn't see his video or his platform. It depends. I give Cornel West this. I give him a snowball chance of hell of winning. But I will say that Cornel West has done, Cornel West, at least to his credit, went to, where was Mike Brown killed? Up in Missouri. He went there and got arrested. He was one of the few to criticize Barack Obama about his presidency and got attacked by a lot of these bootlegs, including Steve Harvey, Michael Eric Dyson. I remember how Dyson put out a dissertation on Cornel West, 30-something pages long, because he criticized Barack Obama. It was a disgrace. That's why I lost a lot of respect for Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. You saw how he did with Bill Cosby. Dyson has always been nothing but a Democratic bootleg. And yeah, they all upset that Cornel West is running because Cornel West is on that liberal thing, but he's running as a third party for the People's Party, founded by Bernie Sanders. Depends on what exactly he's supporting. But his campaign video, let's just listen to this. He emphasized a list of issues, including wages, affordable housing, abortion rights, universal health care, climate change, and the destruction of American democracy. Hell no, I'm not supporting. So you got to support that abortion stuff. You got to go on that liberal thing. Yeah, I take it he's also going to support gay rights. I know he's going to support gun control. See, they got to sneak with all of that stuff. Nothing here in this article that I'm reading on the New York Times says a thing about reparations. I give him as much chance of winning as Lizzo being sexy and a teddy. Ain't gonna happen. And I met Cornel West. I met Tavis Smiley. Good dudes. They were nice. I'll give them that. Cornel West was tall too. I think David Allen Guerrero did a spoof where he was Cornel West. He did a show called Chocolate Sunday, Chocolate News. I can't find it, but yeah, I remember. I distinctly remember it. It was funny as hell. So, yeah, Cornel West. Yeah, Ferguson, Missouri. Okay, that's where Mike Brown happened. Yeah, Cornel West got arrested there. Yeah, Cornel's a nice guy, but you said it right. He's all talk, no action. He's not gonna win. Would I consider vote for him? Depends on what his platform. But for I'm looking at basically when you're with Bernie Sanders, the People's Party, and all of that stuff, you're still aligning with just the same old Democratic stuff, but you're just mad because they didn't invite you. So I'm gonna do what they did, but it's like Costco's doing what Sam Club started. Let me form my own shit. That's all this is. No, but I'm not. These bootlicks, especially especially Eric Adams, Brandon Johnson, staying on top. They got to go. Look up your laws, ladies and gentlemen, especially in New York. If you're in Chicago on recall, I'm sure they apply, but there needs to be a special recall election. People in New York, people in Chicago, You need to look at this and pay attention because this is going to affect you. You saw how they're actually were considering housing these kids. You read the article, the video. If you listen carefully, they talk about housing these people in schools, in gyms. How the kids going to have class? How they going to do sports? How they going to have their games, their intramurals? So you got to think about that. But this wasn't going to be a long show, guys. I'm about to get up out of here, man, but it's crazy what's going on. But look, I do want to just point out, DeAndre, if you're still there, people are in the New Orleans area. I will be back on the 17th. We're doing a show called the Pre-Father's Day Laugh Your Butt Away. That's going to be going on at the Verdict. That's a new spot I'm at. I'm not at the Well anymore, DeAndre, if you're looking at it. And I want y'all to come on out. I need y'all to come on out, ladies and gentlemen. Laugh your behind off at the Pre-Father's Day event. That is on Eventbrite, ladies and gentlemen. You can get tickets now. It's $15. I also will be in California. As you know, I am doing the Comedy Chateau's Comedy Festival, which is coming up. And I have tickets for you if you're out in the LA area at the Comedy Chateau. That's in North Hollywood, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all can come on out. That's going to be June 12th. I want y'all to check this out. This is the festival here. I have tickets. You all can come on out. It's going to be great. We'll have a fun time. So I'm going to enjoy myself. We'll see what happens. Hopefully I'm good. I get some money. Don't worry, I'm not going to wear a dress if they ask me to. I'm doing that. I'll meet some agents and stuff. I'm not doing the casting couch thing. We're going to say that right there. I might sleep on your couch because shit is expensive in LA. I can't get a big hotel, but I'll sleep on the couch. I ain't gonna cast on the couch, dig it? So I'm gonna roll out of here, guys. But yeah, thank you, Darius from Atlanta. Please, please, please donate to the Cash App, PayPal, Zelle. I will be back. I should be back Thursday to do a show. We're gonna be having our boy Sean James. We'll talk briefly about what's going on in the world, especially in the neck of the woods in New York. But yeah, y'all stay up, man. So with that being said, I'm your boy G Rich, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta go work out. It's been a little while. I've been bogged up. I'm tired, but we're gonna go ahead and do that. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Also, get the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby on Kindle. This is gonna be a great show, ladies and gentlemen. It's gonna be good. Thank you, Bernard. Bernard, I haven't heard from you in a while, so it's good to talk to you, man. All right, family. All right, peace and blessings. Love y'all. Be one, be blessed, be safe. I'm out, and I'll holler. Peace.